I used to have a bed that was like a day bed with metal, and it had these golden like bed posts, and I used to save my gum. I would stick it on the bed post, and then in the morning I'd put the gum back in my mouth.
That's gross.
Yeah, I think me and a couple classmates were trying to see how long we could chew the same piece of gum. I was in 3rd grade.
Wow.
Yeah. And I didn't learn cursive. Can I tell a story?
Yeah, tell a story.
Okay, so when my brother and I were young, we would go to my grandma Donna's house, and she would take us to a park that was down the road from her house, and we would play Ninja Turtles. And we'd be like, Raphael, and Leonardo, and, and
You'd just be like saying the names.
Well, we would say, Leonardo, come over here.
Yeah.
Michelangelo needs our help. And she thought we were playing Renaissance painters.
Oh, really? Yeah, she had no idea.
She didn't know at the time yet about the Ninja Turtle craze until she went to my mom and was like, wow, they're talking about Renaissance painters and running around with sticks and stuff. And she thought we were like Renaissance. But then my mom told her, no, it's a TV show about giant turtles who are teenagers and eat pizza and fight crime.
I think it's funny, like, that's what she would go to, is that, like, she would hear you guys saying the names of these famous Renaissance artists, but then just being like, oh, yes, children are, like, really excited. Back then... Why are they trying to kill each other with swords?
No. She might have also thought, like, because back then there was a lot more of those, like, educational shows. Like, every show had educational purpose. It's not like today where it's just a free-for-all, like, let's sell as much shit as we can. And so,
it was always like that.
But like reading Rainbow, you would learn about Renaissance paper or
PBS
painters
stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. So maybe she thought like that's how we learned about it.
And you guys were just super stoked about it.
Super stoked.
Super stoked.
Super stoked.
So I've got a story now that's not really a story, just more of an anecdote.
Tell me.
Which is kind of like what you did.
Yeah.
It was more of an anecdote.
It's a story.
Yeah. So anyway.
Stories don't have to be fiction.
Well, I mean, like, that was just kind of like a thing that happened, right?
Oh, okay. So it was boring?
No, I didn't say that.
Go. Tell your anecdote.
My anecdote is when I was a kid, a lot of times I would like want to play like the thing, like, Ninja Turtles or something like that. But I also wanted to be like creative about it. So I think we're like my cousins and sister, or whoever I was playing with, like, we come up with our own characters that were just sort of rip-offs. So, like, I remember we played our version of Power Rangers. And this was, like, when there was only Mighty Morphin. There wasn't all the other spin-offs and stuff. And we had the Mighty Morphin Animal Rangers is what we called ourselves. And the bad guy we called was, I think we just called her Rito. And then... For instead of a Zordon, we said Wizardon because it was a wizard.
Yeah. That's really creative.
I don't think it was.
I think it was. So we used to play Ninja Turtles and Power Rangers and all that. But as we got older, I used to make my brothers play Little House on the Prairie with me.
Really?
And we would have to forage for food, and we lived in the shed in the backyard. And my parents at the rental house we were at, they had this like giant stone deer.
Yeah.
And I don't know, whoever owned the house had it in the backyard, so when we were renting it was just there, and that was like our pet. Like
your horse?
Yeah. Basically. But we were all too big, we were large children, and we couldn't sit on it because my mom was afraid it would break.
Oh. Was it regular, like, life size?
No, it was like a little smaller than a real deer.
Like a dog size?
But it had like tiny antlers, so it was definitely a boy.
Like a Bambi type?
Yeah, Bambi.
Or a young Rudolph?
A young Rudolph.
Yeah.
This was also the house where the kid next door used to stand on the pile of wood and look over at us. And one day, all we could see was this gun. And then he comes over, and then he was pointing his rifle at us. He had like a...
Like a real rifle?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
That's
he didn't shoot us though.
We had a kid that lived down the street that came over to our house.
Yeah.
And he would show us his butt.
But...
like on purpose.
And I wasn't mad about the gun.
Yeah.
I was just mad that it wasn't of the period of Little House on the Prairie.
Oh, I see.
I went and told my dad. I was
musket.
Yeah. I was like, this is not the right kind of gun. He would just come over to show his butt.
And he was like, that's not historically accurate. Get out of my yard.
Do you remember I think it was like 1998, maybe 1998-ish. I think Pokemon was like a thing. It was starting to be a thing.
You got to catch them all.
You got to catch them all. Anyways, my family was not into Pokemon. We were homeschooled at that point in time. We did not know what it was. There was a child who would visit his family down the street from us at a different house in the summertime, and we had only met him once, and I'm gonna say his name. His name is Eric, because it's funny. Anyways, he would rollerblade down our street, and he would not like rollerblade, you know. He would go like this and shuffle, and he'd go huh, huh, huh. And he was super into Pokemon. And he was trying to get us into Pokemon because we were kids in the neighborhood. Sure. And he would be like, here, let's play Pokemon. And he'd be like, oh, you pick this one. It's really good, real good Pokemon. And so you pick it and be like, oh, that's a triple sucky Pokemon. Triple sucky, I'll beat you. And like he would just like go on and on about things being triple sucky, double sucky.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And it got to the point in the summer that we hated him coming over at all. And we would have to like turn off all the lights when we'd hear the huh, huh. And we'd turn off all the lights and lock the door because he would try the doors. And he would try to open the fence because he was one of those kids.
I imagine it being like a horror movie.
Oh, it was.
Just like...
My dad would be like, shh, don't, shh.
Yeah.
Like, and he'd go, I hear you. I hear you.
Oh my God.
He goes, you guys triple sucky, let me in. And like trying the doorknob.
Oh my God.
I know you're home. And you could hear the rollerblades too, because I think they were just like hand-me-downs. So they didn't like wheel. That's why he had to like step with them. So it was like a
Were they blades or skates?
They were blades, like the long ones. Sure. Not the... Yeah. And oh my gosh. And I think there's other stories with this kid too, but those are the most memorable where he's like, oh, triple sucky. After he told you it was a good one. We didn't know. We didn't know
also just
which ones were good.
The term triple sucky or double sucky is just like, that's
hilarious.
Too much.
I never learned his last name or anything, but sometimes I wonder, like, whatever happened to him.
Yeah.
Like, does he still say triple sucky? Like, does he go to work now? And he's like, oh, hey, man, you should take, you know, like he works in a bidding... You know, like law firm, let's say. And they're like, oh, you should take the Marcel client. You should take the Marcel client. They're great. They're great to work with. It's good for you. And then you take the Marcel client. He goes, oh, triple sucky. The triple sucky client to have. You know, like.
And everybody's like coming to work and they just hear, huh, huh, huh. And he's like in a little like car or something and he's like trying to make it go.
Or what if he works, you know, like those office buildings where it's like tons of different offices, but the mail cart people do the whole building, and he like has the mail cart,
mail guy.
and he's like, huh, 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 and he's like, oh, Janice, triple sucky mail today. Doug has double sucky mail.
Doug has double sucky mail. Yeah, I love it.
I don't know. I just wonder. Is he still into Pokemon? Did he see Detective Pikachu? I saw that. I'm not into Pokemon. He probably did.
He probably thought the movie was triple sucky. It's weird how you like make friends with
kids in your neighborhood. But like when you go to school, you're not necessarily friends at school, but you're friends in your neighborhood.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, oh, I know them, they're my neighbors, but at school you don't sit and have lunch with them.
Yeah, you see them at school. But then you don't hang out with them there. You only hang out with them. We had one of our first neighbor kids that hung out with us was the one I talked about a little bit ago. That would show us his butt.
Was it?
He called it mooning. Oh. But it was weird because you know how like everybody's like, oh, that person mooned me, and it's like when you're like a teenager or something and that happens, it's just like that's the term for showing somebody your butt. But his, it was a very strategic, like, oh, hey, you guys. You want to hear about this thing called mooning? And then he would just bend over and like show us his ass. And then
Weird.
Yeah, and I think he never did this, thank God. He never showed us his front. He wouldn't do that.
What's that called? Sunning?
We called it sunning, yeah.
I can't believe I guessed that.
Yes. Yeah.
Did you do it to him?
No, I didn't sun him. I didn't moon him either.
Oh, man.
I wouldn't do such a thing. But he got in
Sunning
trouble.
and mooning.
He got in trouble for mooning us when my dad found out he was mooning us.
Yeah.
And
it's
then
a little inappropriate.
my dad these kids were troubled, I think. Most of the kids that come to your house to hang out were troubled. Like there was another pair of kids that were twins, identical twins. And one time they brought over a porno magazine.
Oh my God.
I think I was like in 4th grade or something. They're like, hey, you want to see this thing? And they like, we went behind we had like a series of trees next to our house that were like shrub type things. And you could go behind them and it was like a little hiding spot.
Yeah.
And he's like, look at this. And then like my sister found out about it and told my dad. And my dad kept running out like he was about to like kill a kid.
That's so funny.
And then like he's all, where is it? What's going on? I think maybe my dad just wanted the porn now.
Oh no.
But
maybe.
But they said, oh no, I shoved it under the shed. We had a little like tool shed out back, right? And they're like, I put it under there. I got rid of it, right? And they didn't seem to have it, right? But for years I tried to find that under the tool shed. I don't think it was under the tool shed.
I remember, so I think every child of our generation, because now everyone has like internet.
Yeah.
But we have those like finding a porn magazine story, or like in my case, it's like, I found a gun. I found a porn mag. I found I have all these stories that
you found a gun?
Yeah, I found a gun on my school campus.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I'll tell that after the porn story.
Okay.
So this is when I was living in South Dakota.
Yeah.
And we were walking home one day, and in South Dakota, they had all these alleyways in the town we lived in. So you could walk the normal streets, which didn't have sidewalks, or you can walk in the alleys, which didn't have cars. So we would walk in the alleys. And in one of the alleys, there was like just this trash dump of stuff. And the boys were going through it. And I saw this magazine and I picked it up thinking, oh, a magazine, you know.
Yeah.
And I was looking through it and I was like, God, this is just a bunch of naked ladies. And I threw it back on the ground and the boys were like, what?
And they're like ravenous wolves.
Yeah.
Like,
they're like, you found a nudie mag. Like they call it nudie mags.
Yeah.
And it was a kid named Cody. And I think Jordan was already at home because I was walking with my guy friends, I guess is what you call it, my boyfriends. Yeah, ooh. But I was like, oh, that's weird. And so when I went home, I was like, oh, you know, like, why are you here so much later? I was like, oh, we found a trash heap in the alley and there's a bunch of naked ladies. And I think she thought I meant there was like naked ladies in the alley.
Like human beings, like alive.
I'm not sure. I've never clarified it with
person.
her. But she was like, what? And I was like, yeah, you know, and it was a magazine and it had like naked people in it. And she was like, where? And maybe my mom wanted it.
Yeah. Well, no, now, honestly, now that I'm an adult, like, not that I'm like always like, oh, gotta have porno.
Yeah.
But like, you kind of think about that, like, you know, like,
why were our parents so like, what?
Did they want it, or were they, you know, how much of that was them pretending?
Yeah.
You know?
But the gun story also in South Dakota, we were doing hide and seek at recess, which is almost impossible because it's just like a big flat asphalt area.
And you can hide behind the tetherball pole.
Yeah, there's like nowhere to hide because it's for teachers to be able to see where all the children are. So we're doing hide and seek and I run to the farthest edge where there's actually some bushes. So I run and there's a fence around the school.
Yeah.
And I get to the bushes and there's a camera bag, you know, like with the strap. And I open the camera bag because I'm like, ooh, a camera. I'll take some pictures. And inside the camera bag was a handgun. And in the little film containers, those plastic film containers, were bullets.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And so I didn't touch the gun or anything, but I started, you know, hollering for my friends to come over. Not the teacher. I was like, I found a gun. I found a gun. And the teacher comes over. One of the boys wanted to pick up the whole bag and take it. And I was like, we shouldn't touch it.
Yeah.
You know,
Definitely. Yeah.
The PSA say, you know, G.I. Joe says don't touch a gun. Like, you know, Ninja Turtles say if you find a gun, don't touch it. If you find pills, don't take them. It's not candy. So the PSAs helped me out that day. But after that, every month, this man would come in who had long hair and a ponytail, and he would do an anti-gun.
Wow.
Like, assembly.
So do you think they thought like a kid brought it in, or do you think somebody tossed it over the fence?
They think someone tossed it over the fence.
Wow.
Yeah.
Creepy.
Yeah, and the guy, he would come in anytime there was like a weapon found or a fight or anything, and he was really hippy-dippy in this really conservative South Dakota town.
Yeah.
And it was very like, this police officer here is to, you know, talk about gun safety, and I'm here to talk about never touch a gun, never buy a gun. Yeah. And it was very like... Wow.
And the cop's like, Second Amendment rights.
No, seriously. And as a kid, you just, you know, you take it in and you're like...
Yeah.
Oh, a gun. Right. I could have died. Yeah.
Now, I have a story about something found on a playground that's probably gross and sad.
Is it a condom?
Yeah. Good guess. Great guess.
How am I guessing
You're on a roll today.
Oh my God.
This has not happened once. It happened twice at our elementary school on the playground. And not a clean condom, a used condom.
That's disgusting.
Yeah, and knowing as an adult now what that could have meant.
Oh.
Like, because as a kid... We assumed like kids.
It was
like,
adults.
Adults were just having sex on the playground.
Oh my God!
But like not for any weird reasons. But now it's like probably I'm thinking it's probably a pervert. Right?
Yes.
But anyway, we found this condom.
Or teenagers.
It had stuff in it. Oh. It was laying on the ground.
She chased the people around.
Man, you're nailing it today. I didn't. But. My friend...
I'm like reading your mind.
My friend Jimmy did.
No.
And he picked it up with his hands and ran after people with it. And the teacher was like, oh my God, wash your hands. Oh. And it was like a big deal because he picked it up. And I don't know why, because we were like all talking about how gross it was. Yeah. But he thought, I'm going to get somebody good with this. So he picked it up.
Oh my God. Jimmy, if you're watching.
He might be.
I know.
I'm friends with him on Facebook.
I know. If you're watching, give it a like.
Maybe my memory's wrong, Jimmy. I don't remember.
It was him. It was you chasing everyone around.
It was not. I guarantee you it was not me. I would not pick up a dirty condom.
It was so gross.
I did get rocks thrown in my face. Yeah. In that same playground, though.
Who would throw that?
I broke a tooth.
Wait, someone threw rocks?
Gravel at me.
That's mean.
Well, we were goofing around, right?
Oh,
you know how kids
goofing
do.
And gaffing.
Well, they chase each other around and stuff. Well, there's this one kid that was like, so we were like, you know, we were running after this girl and she was coming back after us and she had like a cloak on and was pretending to be a bird or something. Yeah. And it was kind of like teasing, but I don't think we were being mean. It was like a back and forth thing. And then there was this one kid who was like, I guess in love with her or something, or he had a crush on her.
So he threw rocks.
He was like, had to defend her honor. So he saw us, so he was like, I'm going to get you guys. And so he picked up a handful of gravel and threw it at us.
Yeah.
And like it hit us, and like I was like smiling like this.
Yeah, because you're having fun.
And I didn't, you know, you could feel the gravel hitting, and it didn't feel like anything. But then when I touched my tongue to my tooth, I felt a part of my tooth was missing. So and then sharp. It was like tears. Everybody was upset.
Yeah.
I had to go to the dentist. So, and that was an adult tooth had come in. You know, I'd already lost my child tooth.
So it wasn't a baby tooth.
No, and it was like, and so then basically now to this day I have a crown. I remember when I was a boy. As a young, I wasn't always a man. I was a boy at one point in my life.
Interesting.
And
news to me.
Yeah, and so you know, once you get to a certain age and you're coming of age, everything is about nudity and sex or whatever. But when you're like young enough, you don't really quite have like a grasp on what any of that means.
Right.
And I remember specifically a time where we were playing a game where we were like pretending to shoot guns at each other, but we were pretending we had big tits, and we were shooting milk out our tits at each other. So that was the extent of our knowledge on the female body part.
Yeah.
And I remember going, doing that. And my mom showed up, and I was so terrified. And this is funny. This is my child brain. I was so terrified that she knew I was pretending to shoot a tit at my friend, even though we didn't say anything out loud during that time. And I was like, oh my God, she's going to find out that we're pretending this. But it's like, that does not signify
it looks like a machine
gun that I'm shooting a boob at somebody.
Yeah.
So, you know.
It's so funny.
But that was what we did. That was our whole thing. That was our whole day.
Jordan and Daniel used to like get sticks and pretend they were guns.
Yeah.
And they would like shoot at each other. And I never did like the fake gun thing because I don't think I was really into it. But that was also after I found a gun and they had the hippie guy.
Yeah.
Like I feel like
very different experience.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think generally our guns were never like real guns. They were always like, oh, it's a laser gun.
Yeah.
It's it's like something from Ninja Turtles.
Right.
Or it's a tit. And that's all we ever did.
Well, and I think because at a very young age, I had an experience with a real gun and adults freaked out about it.
Yeah.
And I was the type of kid where it was like rules. Like everything is rules. I always get an A+. And for them to be like, oh my God, don't touch. Yeah. And it was like, oh.
Right.
And I call the hippie guy a hippie guy because he was truly a hippie guy, not because he had like an agenda or anything like that. It's like, he was literally like a guy that would come in and talk about the things the teachers or police or whatever were too uncomfortable to talk about.
I just imagine like this weird shaman coming to your school.
He was
he's just like got like a long beard and like a staff.
He had no staff, but he had a long beard and his hair was like as long as his beard. So it was very Jesus-y. And he was very calm and he dressed very nice, like for coming to an elementary school. But what I did notice is it didn't matter if he was wearing slacks and a button-up or like he'd wear pants like this and a button-up.
Yeah.
He always had hiking boots on. Like always. I have another story.
Okay.
In elementary school, there was a boy in a grade above me who had a canteen that he would wear and fill up, and like he was ahead of the curve. Like we all now have Hydro flasks now, but he was literally like canteen boy.
He said, carrying my water in a metal container is the way of the future.
Yes. Well, and he would drink out of it and fill it and all day long.
Yeah.
But what I remember the most about him is he would walk with his hands like mannequin hands.
Oh, really?
On his edge, and he would do like a toy
robot.
Well, no, more like toy soldier because he would march.
Okay. Yeah.
And I think the canteen had something military.
Like
I don't know.
He thought he was in the military.
Yeah, like, and I don't know if his like family was military. I don't know any of that.
It could have just been like his coping fantasy.
Yeah. But what he would do with his face was what I'll remember. Yeah. So he'd do this, he had the canteen, but he would have this like arrogance, like, I'm better than all of you. And it was like soft eyes, soft, relaxed mouth, but rigid body, and just like as he walked.
Wow.
Yeah, it was incredible.
Was he always by himself?
Yeah.
So this makes me think of something that I did as a kid. I think I was probably in second, third grade, that type of region. My mom made me a Batman costume. I wanted like the rubber mask. I remember we were at a grocery store, it was Grocery Outlet.
Oh, I love
and they
Grocery
had
Outlet.
like up above, they had like Halloween stuff one year, and they had the Michael Keaton rubber Batman mask. And I was like, oh, I gotta have it.
Yeah.
And I had gotten like a Batman. Oh, I have two stories for this, by the way.
Oh, okay.
I had gotten this like
gotta get settled
Batman costume from a thrift store because we were poor. We couldn't afford to go buy any.
Right. Yeah.
But this Batman costume, I'm like, oh, the Batman costume is so awesome, but I needed the mask with it, right?
Yeah.
So we couldn't afford to get the rubber Batman mask no matter how cheap it was, even if it was at a discount store. So my mom made me this one out of like car upholstery because my dad had a roll of upholstery because he had intended on reupholstering the inside of his Impala.
Oh, the Impala.
Yeah, and so he just had this roll, and so I think my mom used some of it, so it was like black and it had like a kind of a texture to it, which was kind of cool. And she sewed this mask, and she wasn't like super talented, she was just making it up as she went. And I remember the ears, the Batman ears, in order for them, they were like going out like this, in order to stay up, she had strung a thread between them, so there was a thread between
smart.
holding them up. So I was Batman, but I had this thread. And so I remember being in school, and I remember I was so obsessed with having this Batman costume that I remember like I was pretending in my mind that I was Bruce Wayne at work. And like we'd have to go do jumping jacks and PE stuff, and I was like having to like come up with this fiction in my head of why he was doing these things during his work day.
Yeah.
And then I remember we had a Halloween parade where everybody brought their costumes to school, and we walked around the town, and all the parents and everybody stood out waving and stuff. And I remember I was like method acting. I was like, I'm full on Batman now. And I remember walking around, and I was doing, because in Batman the Animated Series, there's like he always would do the like narrowing his eyes thing, it was the white slit, so it looked cool.
Yeah.
And I remember in my mind thinking, this is going to look hella cool with my mom's homemade mask with the big eye holes like this, and I'm going at everyone that I walk by, just dead serious, and probably, and I'm pretty sure it looked really bad, because I think I went home at the end of the day and looked in the mirror, and I was like, oh, that didn't look as cool. But years later, I bought the rubber Batman mask.
That's true.
Just to have, and I wore it once for Halloween.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's so funny, though.
Oh, but so here's the second.
Yeah,
story.
tell us.
So the second story about the Batman costume is, a couple of years later, I was probably like 5th grade, maybe 6th grade.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't remember. I held on to my toys and my childhood things for a really long time.
There's a closet full of them.
They're still in the closet. So I had this Batman costume, right? But I would do this thing when I was playing like outside and stuff, because I could turn it inside out in a way where I could put my arm through the holes on the arm, but then it went down to the side and kind of like down my back. So it looked a little bit like a trench coat. And I thought at the time it was the coolest thing to have a trench coat.
Oh,
I was a detective.
I think everyone went through that phase.
And so I was like always wearing this thing like it was a trench coat.
Yeah.
And I remember, so when we first were learning to ride our bicycles outside, we would have to stick to our driveways.
Oh, yeah.
And so we had our driveway, which was kind of on a slant that went up to the hill. And then our next door neighbor was this older lady that had like a carport and a driveway. And she let us ride our bikes there and stuff. So one time I'm riding the bike in circles around the driveway, and one of my childhood classmates, a girl, mind you, is walking by, and she's like, Jeff, oh, hi, Jeff. Can't remember if she commented on it in that moment or at school. I think she just said hi to me, and I was like, oh, hi.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my God, I hope she didn't notice the Batman suit.
Yeah.
And I was like, she'll never notice. It looks like a trench coat. Like a
it looks like a trench coat.
And then she's like later at school like, oh yeah, I saw you riding your bike and wearing a Batman costume. And I'm like, no, it was a coat. I was wearing a trench coat. Like, that was somehow cooler, too.
Yes.
Like, I was wearing the trench coat while riding my bike.
Jeff, I was the kid, though. I wore this pink tutu until it fell off of my body. When my parents bought it, it was one of those ones that was connected to, like, the part that snaps under. And I didn't dance. I didn't go to dance. I just wanted that.
Yeah.
And that part fell apart. I was too big. It wouldn't fit right. Until it fell apart. I wore that thing.
Wow.
Years.
Yeah.
Years.
I think that's a lot of people, but I mean, but a tutu is kind of still clothing, but when
not the way I wore it.
I modified what was essentially just a black jumpsuit with a bat symbol on it.
But so there's things you do as a child where in your head it completely makes sense. But then you tell your parents and then you think about it as an adult and you're like, why didn't they institutionalize me? But so there was this thing Jordan and I used to do in the backyard at one of our houses where we would make soft sand, and we thought that was like we discovered something. And basically we would take the bike with training wheels, stick half of it in the sandbox, and kick as hard as we could, and it would basically like sift the sand.
So you had like the small fine grains.
Yes, and we'd be like, and we made my mom like touch it every time we did it. We're like, touch the soft sand, touch it. We should sell this. We should sell
it. Like, that's such a kid thing too.
We were so into the soft sand, and Mom was like, just it's okay. Like, but then when it would rain and the sand would be impacted, we'd be like, we gotta get out there. We gotta make that soft sand. like it was like our jobs.
You have like a warehouse full of boxes that say soft sand.
Yes. Versus what?
We're looking
sand.
for, hey Mom, do you want to invest in our new company for soft sand?
And I remember one time my mom saying, I can't tell the difference. Like she was touching, and she's like, all sand is soft because it's so fine.
Yeah.
And she was like, it's not dirt. And then we were like, soft dirt. Like we gotta make soft dirt.
This idea is genius.
It was genius. Soft dirt is just dust and it gets everywhere.
Yes.
Just so you know, do not stick your training wheels. But we had a rig, like we would put the training wheels where it wouldn't touch and the wheel where it would.
Yeah.
And then we would just like throw sand and it would like spit it everywhere.
Oh, that's so funny. Quite the process.
Oh yeah.
It's your proprietary method of making soft sand.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's pretty good.
We patented it.
Yeah.
Heard of kinetic sand? That's mine. Just kidding. That's just wet sand.
You were way ahead of your time.
Yes.
The kinetic sand, slime. You were making it all as a child.
Yeah. Slime just came out of my body.
It just came out of your nose.
Touch it. We should sell this.
Well, folks, thank you for joining us today on our discussion about childhood, which didn't really...
That was not the plan.
If we're being fully honest, we thought, okay, we'll talk about... today we'll just talk about trash TV that we've been watching.
Yeah.
While we're quarantined.
Sheltering in place.
But it wound up being a discussion about weird stories and anecdotes from being a kid, and I think that's better.
I think so too. Yeah. We're giving you a little insight into what shaped us. And, you know, Jimmy, Eric, Dylan.
Yeah, we didn't mention
the
Dylan.
Kid. Oh, no, Dylan's the kid with the canteen.
I don't know if we should say their name. I guess those are first names. We're not calling them out. We're not giving you their VIN numbers or their social security.
Their VIN numbers, like it matters. Oh my gosh. We're not giving you their parking citation number from 2006.
I'm not giving you their criminal history.
Oh man.
But yeah, so, you know, thanks for joining us. You know, hey, let's, hey guys.
Hey guys. Let's, guys.
You know,
and girls.
Maybe just so that you can help us, like, have, like, more views, leave a comment and talk about your own childhood stories.
Tell us the stories. I comment back, just FYI.
Yeah, right now we're reading all the comments and hanging on every word because we're not really famous, even though
we lied.
We are.
We lied.
So, you know, if you leave a comment, it'll probably, and especially if it's a positive comment, we'll think about it for many days and we'll be really excited about that.
I was just sitting very awkwardly. I was like this all
tense. Feel like I'm sitting awkwardly. Like, I feel like I'm just like leaned in a weird angle.
Well, I feel like I keep like doing this and like
because I'm like all the way up against the couch, but I'm just kind of like slouched down.
Like we're children.
I look a little bit like Dom.
You're like a kid on Easter.
Yeah, I should just like lean. Should I lean forward? What's a better angle?
There.
Yeah, put that in my back. Oh, you know, that actually kind of works. It's so straighter.
There.
But this pillow is too expensive for that.
Why? It's a pillow.
It's a cactus pillow.
Yeah, and then this is also a cactus pillow.
Different kinds of cacti.
Yeah, well, this is a succulent, to be honest. And then this is a cacti with a smiley face.
I don't think it's that bad.
Oh, no! Like that.
Yes.
All right, everyone. Thank you for watching.
Thanks.
We appreciate you. I hope you enjoyed this, and we'll catch you next time.
All right, bye.
Like and subscribe.
Yeah, subscribe.
Please subscribe. We want to start making money doing this.